Okay, rolling.
Oh, it's been peaceful.
I want to talk about my favorite speedrun, though I'm not entirely sure how to go about it. It's not exactly iconic or well known, neither is it some monumental achievement in gaming. I mean, it isn't even performed in real time, right? It's a Tool Assisted Speedrun of the original Spyro the Dragon on PS1. But I think it's actually because of its Tool Assisted nature that I think Waffle Wizard's Silly Percent might just be the most mind-blowing speedrun I've ever watched, purely in terms of entertainment value. When it comes to showing absolute mastery over a single game, Silly Percent is quite literally in a category of its own. It's the only speedrun I know of that I can confidently label a work of art, the kind of speedrun that challenges the very meaning of speedrunning and the reasons for doing so. The run itself is 40 minutes long, and it's pretty much nothing but twists, turns, wall glides, proxies on proxies, out of bounds glitches, camera glitches, supercharges that last longer than ever intended, wrong warping, bizarre ways of dying, role reversals, boss fight skips. Whatever the fuck is even going on here? Like, how do you even trigger this? Every second, there's a new subversion, or inversion, where Spyro just ends up in places no one's ever been before. Like these mountains that I could have sworn were part of the skybox. There's truly no telling just what's gonna happen next, or what bizarre kind of athletics Spyro will perform. In some cases, it's hard to tell if what's going on is intentional or not. Like, before the game even starts, the PS1 logo is all stretched like this, and in the opening cutscene, the skybox is just straight up missing.
It's been peaceful.
And I can't tell if these are emulator glitches or if they were deliberately triggered. And on top of it, all this chaos, this frolicking around, seems to be oddly in sync with the music. I really have no idea how to fully convey the brilliance of this run, alright? I'm not even sure I'm the right guy to do so, alright? I'm not a speedrunner, neither am I really that familiar with the first Spyro game beyond his soundtrack. But I think even if you've never played Spyro 1, or maybe you have played it, but you aren't familiar with the speedrunning scene, you should watch this run on your own time, alright? Go in blind and experience it for yourself. Then I'd highly recommend checking out this video from Spyro speedrunner Dayomen reacting to it.
It's cool to see like where you can and can't stand. Like I would have never guessed that you could like stand there.
He does an incredible job at explaining everything going on, pointing out little details and references that you'd normally never notice, all in a way that just makes you appreciate the run that much more. And the craziest thing about this run, as he points out, is that technically, outside of supercharged fast turning, just about every trick in here is doable by a human. Just, good luck getting each and every one of these proxies first try. And for what? I mean, it doesn't save time, alright? You clearly don't need to do all this just to beat the game. In fact, I'm not even sure beating the game is the end goal here. The run notably skips all the speedway levels as well as Nasty's loot, leaving only the regular hub and boss worlds, including the final boss. And while the run does end up beating Nasty Nork at the end, even that is done in a way that kills Spyro so that he and Nasty both respawn. And that's how the run ends, with Nasty still alive. Like, is it even a speedrun at this point? I'm not even sure. I always thought the point of speedrunning a game is to beat it as fast as possible, or at least complete a set of challenges as fast as possible. But this run doesn't actually beat the game, nor does it seem to have any defined goals beyond just being silly. And yet, it was very clearly and meticulously planned out as a speedrun, so I mean, I don't know. This is part of what I mean by Silly Percent challenging the very definition of a speedrun. Even though it has no tangible goal, and there have been real-time any percent runs of Spyro the Dragon completed faster, it at least resembles a speedrun with a specific planned route that does end at the final boss area. So as far as I'm concerned, yeah, I'm considering it a speedrun. I know I'm probably reading too far into it, alright, something called Silly Percent is probably not meant to be taken this seriously, but that's ultimately why I'm so enamored with it. It's the best example of a meta speedrun that I know of. It's an uncompromised decimation of the game that seems to exist for no reason other than to be an uncompromised decimation of the game, and it just so happens to be super fun to watch. And the best thing about all this? Waffle Wizard did another one, this time on Spyro 3 called Silly Billy Percent.
It was Billy's genius idea!
It's pretty much everything I said about the original Silly Percent run, just taken to 11. The proxies are more extreme, the out-of-bounds glitches seem more effortless, death is straight up defied at multiple points, Spyro ends up in entire sections he's not supposed to be in, things seem oddly enough even more in time with the music, Spyro manages to forego giving moneybags any gems while still being able to access every single side character, and manages to swim above water like it's entered a dragonfly. It even confirms that some of the more dodgy aspects of Silly Percent, like the corruptions and the stretched PS1 logo, weren't just flukes, and that they are actual intended parts of the run. It is every bit as brilliant as the original run, and on top of it all, the ending might just be the best part. It once again takes place in the final boss arena, where after some typical Silly Billy behavior, Spyro catches a ride on a UFO, and instead of defeating the boss like you'd normally do, he proceeds to spend roughly 8 minutes just shooting at sheep balloons as they spawn, overloading the scene with sheep, causing the game to lag more and more until it eventually crashes, as Spyro himself crashes into the ground. It's such a satisfying conclusion to what might just be my second favorite speedrun. Yeah, I do find the original Silly Percent to be a bit more enjoyable, alright? Silly Billy clocks in an hour this time instead of just 40 minutes, but it did have a few moments that kinda dragged a bit. There are several forced cutscenes and dragon eggs that take some time to skip, and there are parts where the run just kinda stops and waits for things to be set up. So the pacing of things isn't quite as tight as they seem to be in Silly Percent, but it's still an absolute masterpiece. And just like before, Dairyman also has a reaction video to this as well.
Welcome to another amazing task made by Waffle Wizard 1, my favorite task maker in Spyro now. Friendship ended with Nitrovsky.
To me, these two runs represent the full potential of what tasks can be when you remove the limitations of any sort of end goal. They can go beyond just being theoretical world records and become complete works of art. And I do wish that more of these runs exist for other games, where the sole purpose is to just break the game at every conceivable angle, regardless of world record viability. Unfortunately, it seems like Waffle Wizard has since become inactive, and no such goofy percent run exists for Spyro 2. But with tasks being a culmination of community-wide efforts and discoveries, I'm still holding out hope that Waffle or someone else will do it one day and complete the trilogy.